My name is Warren Dews. I'm the Chief Consumer Sales and Events Officer for New England Newspapers, as I mentioned. And welcome to our second annual Regional All-Star Awards. Thank you all for coming out. And really, this is an amazing crowd, so give yourselves a round of applause. We're here once again to celebrate the hard work and dedication of some of our region's best young athletes. And I want to take a moment first to congratulate all of you and celebrate you and for enriching this community and all the things all the hard work you've done all year to get to this place. Thanks to your parents for raising you, and thank them for making the future brighter for all of us in this community and beyond. As you no doubt already know, we have 8-time X Games snowboard cross gold medalist Nate Holland here tonight, and we'll be welcoming him in a minute. A big thank you to our sponsors this evening, Bennington College, for allowing us to be in this beautiful facility. It's a beautiful day today, by the way, too. And for Southwest Vermont Medical Center, and for Bennington Subaru. Now, I'd like to stop there because you need to realize that these things that we're doing, we cannot do at all without sponsorships. And so, real quick, just give another round of applause for these sponsors. And we have a couple of table sponsors, Hoisington Realty, Hannaford's Burr and Burton Academy. Give them a round of applause. Now, I met somebody, he's going to be a good friend of mine, Chief of Police, Paul Doucette. Where are you? So, I got this ticket thing I need to talk to you about when a little later. All right, thank you. If you do, that's going to be front page of the paper. The previous.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to talk to you for about 30 seconds because that's all he would allot me, and let you know that it is truly an honor to be here tonight. You look around the room, there's a lot of stellar athletes. The parents are here. Some people brought their grandparents, and it's truly an honor to be in the room with all of you. The kids work really hard, whether you're from Bennington, Shasbury, Arlington, Cambridge, Hoosick Falls. It's really an honor to be here, and I think that we're here tonight to honor the kids. We hear so many things about, oh, this kid did this and this kid did that. Tonight is about honoring the kids for all the fantastic things that they do. So, round of applause for all the kids that are in the room being honored tonight. Thank you.
So real quick, about tonight's awards, we're honoring over 70 of the region's top high school athletes and coaches in about 20 different sports. We'll be recognizing the remarkable comeback stories, unsung heroes who made their team's success possible, and ambassadors whose efforts and dedication promoted a positive reputation for their school and their teammates. A Team of the Year will also be recognized for 2017-2018 athlete achievement, in addition to the top 2 athletes of the year and the coaches of the year. Presenting tonight's second annual 2017-2018 Manchester Journal Bennington Banner Regional All-Star Awards is Tim Van Orden. Tim Van Orden. I owe you that $5. I told you I was going to mess your name up, So Tim is a native of Bennington. He graduated from Mount Anthony Union High School in 1986, where he completed in cross-country, Nordic skiing. He's also a field, and he did a lot of great things, low profile around town. He's also known all over the country for his distance running. He also racked up 12 United States Masters Championships in trail running, mountain running, and snowshoeing. Whew. That's a lot, man. He also, U.S. Track and Field named him as the United States Masters Mountain Runner of the Year for 2010 and 2011. He was also named United States Master Trail Runner of the Year 2011 and 2012. Now, I can talk about Tim all night, but you won't stay here and listen to that. But you can read more about Tim in your book on page 9 in your books, in your All-Star section. Please read more about him. What I want to do now is get off this mic and give it to Tim. Round of applause for Tim, everybody.
Thank you, Warren, for not embarrassing me too badly. This is a real honor to be up here tonight celebrating the great athletes and coaches in this community, and it's also an opportunity for me to give my thanks to this community for providing the environment that allowed me to aspire towards a life as an athlete. I couldn't have done it without the seeds that were planted here in Bennington many, many decades ago now. So I'm really grateful for the community that we have built. And as Paul Doucette said a few moments ago, you hear people complaining about, well, Bennington's this and that. It's also an extraordinary place. It really is, which is why I came back here in 2007 to make this my home training ground, because I love it here. It's home. So one of the things that really paved the way for me is the numerous opportunities that this town provides athletically. There's so many different sports that kids can compete in. And the coaches, without their support and mentorship, we'd be misguided. If it wasn't for the support that I had as a teenager trying to find myself, trying to define myself in the world, I would have been lost. And it was through sports that I became the person that I am today. So when I look back on my life, it's the coaches and the athletic programs here in Bennington that really shaped who I became as a person. And I'm really grateful for everything that this town has done and continues to do to give an opportunity for you to shine. This is your moment tonight. This is your opportunity to look back and say, you know what? Sports asked me to be more than I thought I could be, and I rose to the occasion. And tonight, we acknowledge you for that. So a big round of applause for everybody here tonight. All right. In a few minutes, we're going to bring up our special guest and keynote speaker, Nate Holland. As you've already heard, Nate is an 8-time X Games medalist, gold medalist. Really extraordinary. He has dominated the sport of snowboard cross. He's also won 2 world championship medals. Nate was born in northern Idaho, way up in the tippy top. And out there, he developed a taste for adventure at a very young age. He also developed a need to live on the edge, which I think you need for a sport like snowboard cross. And that's fueled him throughout his entire career. Nate is also a 3-time Olympian as a snowboard cross specialist. And Holland defines the sport's chaotic style by going all out in every race. So we got a video now where you can see him in action. Where's my video man?
When I'm sitting in the gate in the finals, there's no way I feel like I'm gonna lose.
This is the final men's Snowboarder X from Aspen.
When it comes to domination in Snowboarder X, one name takes the lead.
Oh, Nate dives to the inside with a beautiful pass. He has turned on the nitrous. The old sheriff is back in town and taking home the gold.
Nate Holland arrived on the X Games scene in 2002, and in just a few short years, he found his rhythm.
Yellow Casey right there! Nate Holland comes from behind. Incredible racing.
Nate would begin his domination of Snowboarder X in 2006 with a tough race that found him behind early, but never out.
Down the stretch they come. At the line, your winner, Nate Holland picks up gold.
The next 2 years saw Holland uncontested as he won every heat.
He is absolutely flying through the sport.
And claimed more X Games hardware.
And it is all Nate Holland. Let the three-peat celebration commence.
His battles with Seth Westcott were legendary, as the 2 competitors fought neck and neck through the years.
Westcott in the lead with the yellow bib, but back comes Holland. A great glide by Seth Westcott. He is toe-to-toe with Nate Holland.
And he passes Westcott. Unbelievable speed.
and forged a friendship in the process.
That ability to come out and repeat year after year in the same venue, it's impressive.
Year in and year out, he's just unbeatable.
The four-peat is complete.
From 2006 to 2010, Nate owned the top of the podium, becoming the first athlete ever to 5-peat at Winter X Games.
And the five-time champion has crossed the line. Nate the Great has done it.
5 feet, baby, hell yeah!
Through it all, Nate Holland has cemented his legacy by winning 10 total medals in just 11 X Games appearances.
This is some of the best quarter X riding I have ever seen. Look at that move by Holland there, wow.
A surgical strike is underway, and Nate is having his way with the rest of the field.
There's nothing as satisfying as coming from the back of the pack, ticking people off for a win. I mean, you got to work for it, and your mind's going a million miles an hour. What's this guy doing? What's this guy doing? And it's an awesome rush.
7 golds for Nate Holland.
Came back after a year off. This is again.
Everybody give it up for Nate Holland.
Thank you. Thank you. That gives me the chills every time. It's like 85 degrees out there, and it still gives me the chills. Enough about me right now. This is about the kids. This is about excellence in sports. This is a celebration, an acknowledgement. I would like to thank the Bennington Banner and the Manchester Journal for allowing the kids to have such a special night, to come out and be recognized. I was saying hi to some folks earlier, and everyone likes a pat on the back. And to be able to give the kids something to work for towards the end, I mean, I understand in the heat of the moment, you're fighting for the game, you're fighting for the win. But to be acknowledged at the end of the year is just that little extra carrot to chase. And so let's give the local media a hand of applause for having us all.
Right, you're going to hear more from Nate in a bit, but before we do that, let's give out some awards. So what we're going to do, we're going to have you come to the center aisle and then come up and around the stairs this way so you're not walking in front of the screen or tripping over things on the side. So we're going to start with fall sports, and when we call your sport, we want everybody to come up for that sport through the middle aisle, and we'll bring you up one at a time so you be positioned over here. Does that make sense? Perfect. Okay. Yeah, you good?
Let's do it.
All right, so we're going to start out with fall sports, and the first sport we're going to honor is football. So if all the football athletes could come on up. In front? Okay, could you find out exactly what he's saying? Parents can take pictures of black boxes.
Parents can take pictures from black boxes.
Okay, parents, if you'd like to take pictures of your son or daughter, there is a black box made in tape on the floor, and that is apparently the best viewing angle for a shot. So that's the killer shot right there. So if you want to take photos, come on up, stand right here in this black box, and you're good to go. Okay, so first we're going to start out with the offensive player of the year. No, let me say that again. The offensive player of the year. Well, I don't know. It might be both. So this is Jay McCoy of Burton. Jay was an offensive powerhouse and a threat to get into the end zone on every single snap. He threw for nearly 1,800 yards and 20 touchdowns against 6 interceptions. On the ground, Jay rushed for 1,179 yards, an average of 7.6 yards per carry, and 14 more scores as he led Burton to the Division II semifinals and an 8-2 record. Jay was named to the first team All-State on both sides of the ball as a quarterback and as a linebacker. So Jay, come on up. Oh, he's not here tonight. Big round of applause for Jay. Next, we have our Defensive Player of the Year. And this is Nathan Janevic from Cambridge. Nate was one of the top defensive linemen, not only in Section 2, but throughout New York State. He had a team-high 112 tackles, including 4 for loss, while also getting a pair of sacks. Nate tied for the team lead with 4 fumble recoveries as the Indians went 12-1 and won their second straight state championship. Janevic was named to the first team All-State and only one of 5 underclassmen to receive that honor. So come on up, Nate. All right, next up, we have Most Valuable Player. And this is Maxwell Hoffer from Cambridge. Max was strong on both sides of the ball as a lineman for the state champion Indians. On offense, he led the line that helped Cambridge rush for almost 3,600 yards, an average of 276 per game, and 70 touchdowns. Defensively, he had 85 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 interceptions, including 1 for a touchdown and 2 fumble recoveries. Max was named as a first-team All-State player for the second straight season. Max is going to attend Clarkson University next year, where he will play lacrosse. Come on up, Max. Group photo.
Next to soccer. If you want to right next to soccer, bring the soccer.
Yeah. Okay, before we give the final award for football, if the soccer athletes and coaches could start coming up. That way we can move it along. So next in football is Coach of the Year, which is Doug Luke from Cambridge. Doug won his second straight state championship this season in a 26-14 win over Maple Grove in a rematch of the 2016 championship game. The Indians were 12-1 in 2017 and finished as the #1 team in the New York State Sports Writers Association poll after outscoring opponents 655-151. Doug is now at 203 wins for his career, which is 5th in Section 2. Big round of applause for Doug Luke, Coach of the Year. Okay, our next sport is soccer, or football, depending on where you are. So, first up, we have the boys' most valuable player, which is Will McCullough from Long Trail School. Will scored the most goals by a boy in 7 schools that the banner covers, with 28 goals for the season. He was a major force in the Long Trail team that made its first ever trip to the Division IV state finals, where the 14-3-1 Mountain Lions fell to Rivendell 1-0. Will also scored one of Long Trail's 2 goals in the semifinal game against South Royalton. He was named a Marble Valley League All-Star and a member of the Vermont All-State team at the season's conclusion. So come on up, Will. Next up, we have Boys Defensive Player of the Year, Lane Nolan from Arlington. Lane was the leader of the Arlington defensive back line that gave up just 14 goals in 16 games. The Eagles finished the year at a 9-6-1 record and shut out their opponents on 7 different occasions. Lane was named a Marble Valley League All-Star and to the Vermont All-State team for his efforts on defense throughout the season. Come on up, Lane. Next up, we have the boys' coach of the year, who is Tim Smith from the Long Trail School. Tim was the leader through a lot of firsts for the Long Trail boys soccer team in 2017. He led the Long Trail boys team to its first Division IV state championship game in the history of the program. The Mountain Lions compiled a 14-3-1 record and won the Marble Valley League for the first time. So come on up, Tim Smith. No? Not here. Big round of applause for Tim. Okay, now we move over to the girls' side, where we have the girls' most valuable player, Tess Belknap from Arlington. Tess was the best offensive player in terms of goals in the entire area, with 44 for the season. She was a top-scoring option on an Arlington team that went undefeated at 18-0 and defeated Proctor 3-0 in the Division IV state championship game. Belknap was named a Marble Valley League All-Star and a member of the All-State team after the season. Among her achievements with the Eagles, last summer Belknap was chosen for the Region 1 Olympic Development Program team, which includes a group of the top 30 sophomore soccer players in the New England and Mid-Atlantic states. Come on up, Tess. Next up, we have the girls' Offensive Player of the Year, Grace Pincus from Burn Burton. Grace was the top offensive threat for Burn Burton during the 2017 season with 19 goals, which ranks her 6th for girls in the coverage area. She was a major reason that BBA finished 14-4-1 and made it to the Division I state championship game for the 3rd straight season, where they fell to CVU 1-0 in a tightly contested final. She was named to the Marble Valley League All-Star team and a member of the Vermont All-State team for her play. Come on up, Grace. She's on here. She's playing in a soccer game right now. Okay, next up, we have Girls Defensive Player of the Year, Shayna Staub from Arlington. Shayna was the goalkeeper for an Arlington team that allowed just 6 goals in 18 games. And while she was in the net, she allowed just 4 shots to get past. She helped lead the Eagles to an undefeated season and a Division IV state championship. Staub was named to the Marble Valley League All-Star team and a member of the Vermont All-State team. Come on up, Shayna. One more. Next, we have the Girls' Coach of the Year, Aaron Wood from Arlington. In his first season at the helm of the Arlington girls soccer team, after taking over for his father, Dan, Aaron led the Eagles to a perfect 18-0 record and a Division IV state championship, which was the program's first in 8 years. Under Wood's leadership, Arlington outscored opponents 104-6 for this season, and he had 2 of the best offensive players in the state, Tess Belknap, 44 goals, and Haley Madison, 32 goals. Come on up, Aaron. The next sport we're going to honor is field hockey, so if you could start making your way up. We're just barely starting in this ceremony, and I am already blown away by the level of talent here tonight. I had no idea. It's incredible. All right, so the first award in field hockey goes to the Offensive Player of the Year, Lillian Hickey from Hoosick Falls. Lillian was the top offensive threat on Hoosick Falls' team that went 16-2 and made it to the sectional championship game where they fell to Schuylerville. She scored 22 goals in a season where she was named to the New York State field hockey team. Lillian was one of the 4 Panthers to be named a Wasser Adirondack League First Team All-Star for the season. Come on up, Lillian. Next, we have the Defensive Player of the Year, Mackenzie Sprague from Hoosick Falls. Mackenzie was one of the top players on defense for the Panthers that went 16-2 and made it to the sectional final. She came through in some pretty key moments on offense as well, where she scored one of the Panthers' 3 goals in Hoosick Falls' win in the sectional semifinal against Warrensburg. At the season's conclusion, she was named as one of the team's 4 first-team Wasser and Adirondack League All-Stars. Come on up, Mackenzie. Okay, and the next sport we're going to be doing is cross country, so if you could start making your way up to the front. And Coach of the Year in soccer is Denise Campbell from Hoosick Falls. Denise led the Hoosick Falls field hockey. Did I say soccer? Field hockey. I am so sorry. Wouldn't that be amazing if you were the, yeah, no, but you're not. Denise led the Hoosick Falls field hockey team to a 16-2 record and a trip to the sectional championship game where they fell to Schuylerville. Campbell, in her 20th season leading the Panthers, has won 12 Section 2 Class C championships. In 2017, Hoosick had 4 Wasser and Adirondack League first-team All-Stars and 4 second-team All-Stars. Come on up, Denise. And after cross country, we're going to be doing volleyball, so if you could start coming to the front. Okay, now on cross country.
And golf.
And golf. So the cross country boys runner of the year is Evan Page from Mount Anthony. Evan was named a Marble Valley League All-Star for his contributions to the MAU cross country team this season. He finished in the top 200 out of more than 700 runners at the 5K race at the New England Cross Country Championships in November, and finished in the top 20 at the Woods Trail Run at Thetford Academy. Evan placed 10th in the Division I Vermont State Championships the week prior to the regional meet, and was a Marble Valley League All-Star at the season's end. Come on up, Evan. And the girls' cross-country runner of the year is Sarah Umflett from Mount Anthony. Sarah was named a Marble Valley League All-Star for her season with MAU this year. She qualified for the New England Cross Country Championship meet, where she placed 126th in the girls' 5K race at that meet. She was a top 20 finisher at the Woods Trail Run at Thetford Academy and placed 19th in the Division I Vermont State Championships the week prior to the regional meet. Sarah also helped MAU to win a 3rd-place finish at the Willow Park Invitational in September. She was also named a Marble Valley League All-Star at the season's end. Come on up, Sarah. Okay, we're moving on to volleyball. So the volleyball player of the year is Jonna Loomis from Mount Anthony. Jonna was one of the top players on the Mount Anthony volleyball team and has been with the program since its beginning. She had strong performances throughout the season, including in the Patriots' playoff matchup against Burlington and during a very tough Berkshire League schedule that boasted the Western Massachusetts finalists. Come on up, Jonna. Next, golf. The golfer of the year, Julia Dupron from Burton. Julia did something that was impossible up until 2017. She won a pair of state championships in the same year. She won her first championship in June and then won the state championship again in October when the sport was moved to the fall instead of the spring. Julia won the state championship by 2 shots over North Country's Carly Giroux in October's competition. She's also competed at the New England Championships the past 2 years and was the top Vermont finisher last week, shooting an 82. Come on up, Julia. One more. Now, to present some special awards, I'm going to bring up Adam O'Coin. Adam, if you'd come on up to the podium.
Hey, thank you guys for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it. We put a lot of work into this event, so we really appreciate that. I'm going to announce some of our special awards tonight. These are ones that hadn't been announced coming in today, so there'll probably be some surprises. So our first special award goes to someone who played 3 sports for Mount Anthony this school year. She was never a person who was going to fill up the stat sheet every game, but she was always there to contribute in any way she could. During the fall, she played soccer, where she was the ultimate team player. She was putting her teammates in great positions to score goals. She was a starter for the girls' basketball team in the winter, where she could score for MEU, but more importantly, she could provide a strong presence on the boards and at the free throw line. This spring, she was a major piece of the MEU softball team that made it to its 5th consecutive state championship game. She finished 3rd in her graduating class, and she will be attending Union College in the fall. Our first unsung hero is Katie O'Brien from Mount Anthony.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations.
All right, our second unsung hero was someone who played 5 sports this year at Cambridge Central School. He was a star receiver and linebacker for the Indians, who went on to win their 2nd consecutive state championship this past fall, and the first team in Section 2 to do that. He was named the New York State Class D Co-Player of the Year at the end of the season. He was the leader of the Cambridge boys basketball team and averaged 17.6 points per game. And during the spring, he picked up the sport of baseball again, a sport he'd been away from since middle school. Did I also mention he did track in 2 of these seasons? He's a master of all seasons, and our second unsung hero is Brendan Holcomb from Cambridge.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Moving on to now our 6th man, 6th woman of the year. Starting off with the 6th man. Our 6th man is someone that I would love to have as a 6th man on any team that I was on. He's a 3-sport athlete at Hoosick Falls who was a coach's dream. During the fall, he was a contributor at running back for the football team, picking up a Class C North 2nd team all-star selection along the way. On the hardwood, he was the ultimate role player. He could knock down a 3 at any time, and he would provide quality defense on a Hoosick Falls team that made it to the sectional final. During the spring, he was an ever-consistent force for the Panthers, batting in their batting order, and showed poise beyond his years as just a sophomore. Our 6th man of the year is Max Kipp. Unfortunately, Max is unable to be here tonight. And lastly, our sixth woman of the year. So our sixth woman was a three-sport athlete at Arlington who does just as well on the playing field as she does in the classroom. She was an all-state midfielder on the Arlington girls soccer team that went undefeated, winning a state championship and outscored opponents by 98 goals this past season. During the winter, she was a senior leader on the Eagles basketball team that made a trip to Barrie for the state semifinals. And on the track, she set 4 personal records this past spring and won the 800-meter championship. Being from a Division IV school, she doesn't always get the attention of some of the Division I athletes that they had gotten, but she is always there to help her teams. This girl doesn't mess around in the classroom either, as she was also the Arlington class of 2018 valedictorian. In the fall, she will be attending the University of Vermont to study engineering. Our sixth woman of the year is Jamie Keel from Arlington.
I lied a little about the student ambassador.
Yep. And now I'm going to welcome back Tim to the stage.
Basketball. Did you know that 87% of people that receive promotional products keep them for a year? So if you need promotional products, that's where you want to get them. Butterfly, right there. All right, just to let you know, we are live on Cat TV right now. We're also live on Facebook. So if you have anybody that couldn't make it tonight, you can let them know it's on Cat TV. Just make sure that your ringer is off if you're going to be using your phone. Also, if you are tweeting, hashtag Allstars, okay? If you're taking pictures with Nate, Snapchat as well?
We have a Snapchat filter up.
We have a Snapchat filter as well. Okay, so hashtag Allstars. Let's talk it up. Okay, now we're going to move on to winter sports. So we're going to start with basketball. So basketball, if you could come on up to the stage. Did everyone get enough to eat? I still see some food back there. All right, we're going to start out with the boys' most valuable player, Guy Milliman from Hoosick Falls. Guy was the senior leader for the Panthers in a campaign in which they went 18-5 and reached the Section 2 Class C final. He scored 365 points, an average of 15.2 points per game. But some of his best work happened on the defensive end as he got the task of taking on some of the section and state's best players, including Glens Falls' Joe Girard III, the state's all-time points leader. Guy was also the most valuable player in the Wasserman League after his first team selections for the past couple of seasons. So Guy, come on up. Next up, we have Boys Offensive Player of the Year, John Kemp from Hoosick Falls. John led the Panthers in scoring with 443 total points, an average of 18.4 points per contest. Only a sophomore, he was responsible for more than 27% of the team's scoring. He scored in double figures in 20 of the team's 23 games. His best individual performance of the year came in a 5-point loss to eventual Class C state champions Lake George, where he dropped 29 points to lead all scorers. John was named a Wasserman League All-Star this past season as well. Come on up, John. Next, we have the Boys Coach of the Year, Ashley Hoyt from Arlington. Ashley led the Eagles to the number 4 seed in the Division IV playoffs. Led by a balanced offensive attack and strong defense, they reached the Barry Auditorium in the state semifinal, where they fell to top-seeded Danville. Ashley led the Eagles to a 14-9 record. Come on up, Ashley. The girls' most valuable player, Grace Mahar from Mount Anthony. Grace moved seamlessly from being a role player as a freshman for the Patriots to being a leader as a sophomore in the 2017-18 campaign. Grace led the Patriots with 338 points, an average of better than 16 points per game. Mahar was responsible for 37% of the Mount Anthony scoring during a season in which the Patriots finished 13-8. She scored in double figures in 17 of the team's 21 games, while also filling up the scorebook with rebounds, steals, and assists. Grace was a Marble Valley League All-Star this past season. Come on up, Grace. And if we could start the wrestlers coming to the front of the room, wrestling athletes. Next, we have Girls Offensive Player of the Year, Logan Thane from Hoosick Falls. Logan, only a sophomore, scored 454 points in 23 games, an average of 20.6 points per game, which is number 1 on the area scoring list. Logan is a Wasserman League All-Star and was responsible for nearly half the points scored this season by the Panthers, and she scored more than 20 points in a game 15 times, including a high of 37 in a win over Greenwich. She thrived offensively despite the focus of other teams' defense, making her presence felt in the low block as the Panthers reached the sectional semifinal. Come on up, Logan. Girls Defensive Player of the Year, Sophie Phillips from Cambridge. Sophie, who was only a 9th grader, was a leader for the Indians on offense and defense for a team that reached the Class C state semifinals and finished the year 25-2. She led the team in scoring with 390 points, which is 14.4 points per game. On defense, Sophie was one of the top on the team in steals, creating opportunities in transition for the Indians. Sophie was named a Wasserman League All-Star this season. Come on up, Sophie. The girls' Coach of the Year, Tony Boquette from Cambridge. And he's repping the colors tonight, I see. In his 4th year leading the Indians, Tony took his team from 8-14 in 2016-17 to a 25-2 mark in 2017-18, which was their best season since 1999. He did that with 3 freshmen in the starting lineup, twins Sophie and Lily Phillips and Fiona Mooney. After finishing the regular season 19-1, the Indians rolled through the Section 2 playoffs, finishing it off with an overtime win over McKeel Christian. 2 regional blowouts send the Indians to the state semifinal, where they eventually lost to the champions Millbrook. Come on up, Tony. Okay, we're moving on to wrestling. We're going to start out with the lower weights. And this award goes to Keegan Kuhn from Mount Anthony. Keegan, who was wrestling at 145 pounds for the Patriots, went 52-9 this season. He won the state championship, beating Spalding's Hunter Cuero in the title match. Then at the New England tournament, Kuhn was 3 for 3 and finished in 5th place. In his first 2 years, he's won nearly 100 matches, finishing 3rd as a freshman in the state tournament as well. Keegan was named a Marble Valley League All-Star this season. Come on up, Keegan. Next, in the middleweights, we have Tyler Burgess from Mount Anthony. Tyler finished his career with the Patriots after going 41-7 and winning his second straight individual championship in 2017-18. He started the season with an injury and missed a handful of matches in the first few weeks, but he came back for a Vermont title and a fourth-place finish at the New England tournament, which was his second straight year placing in the top 6. Tyler finished his career with more than 150 victories. Come on up, Tyler. In the upper weights, we have Calvin Hayford from Mount Anthony. Calvin finished his career with MAU with a state title at 285 pounds, avenging a championship loss as a junior to St. Johnsbury's Hunter Ladd. Calvin was 57-6 this year with only a single loss before the state tournament in February. At regionals, he finished 5th overall, and at senior nationals in Virginia Beach, Calvin placed 8th. The first MAU senior wrestler to place since Troy Gassaway in 2015. Calvin had more than 170 career victories, and he'll compete at Campbell University in South Carolina. Come on up, Calvin. Okay. If we could bring up bowling and ice hockey, that would be great. Next up, we have Coach of the Year, Sarah Barker from Burton. After working as an assistant for Zach Monforte in the first couple years, the new Burton's new wrestling program, Sarah took over this season when Monforte stepped away for family reasons. Sarah, who wrestled at Mill River, led the Bulldogs to some of their best records to date. Under her tutelage this season, senior Nick Williams became the first BBA wrestler to reach 100 career victories. She also had 3 wrestlers finish 4th at the state tournament, the highest finish for a BBA competitor since the program began. Come on up, Sarah. Now we move on to bowling. The bowler of the year is AJ Hurlbert from Hoosick Falls. AJ led the Panthers to a Section 2 Class CD championship, edging out Mechanicville and Saratoga Central Catholic to win the title. AJ, who also plays football and lacrosse for the Panthers, had this high series at the championships, racking up 1,289 pins. That's an average of 214.83 per game. The senior also led Hoosick Falls to an Adirondack League Southern Division Championship and represented Hoosick Falls at the state tournament, putting up the 3rd highest overall game in the tournament. Come on up. Okay, as we're giving out hockey, could indoor track come to the front of the room? So in hockey, the boys' hockey player of the year is Egan Schmidt from Burton. Egan was the leader of the Bulldogs in the 2017-18 season, both as a teammate and offensively. He led the state of Vermont with 34 goals and added 19 assists to end the year with 53 points, the best total in the state, regardless of division. The Bulldogs finished 13-8-1 this season as Egan was chosen as a first-team All-State player. Schmidt is also a repeat winner of the top hockey player for the Regional All-Star Gala. Come on up, Egan. And the girls' hockey player of the year, Charlie Carthy from Burton. Charlie and the BBA girls hockey team had a tough year in 2017, going winless, but in 2018, the Bulldogs rebounded to go 16-14-2 and win a Division II playoff game against Hartford. Charlie was one of the few upperclassmen on the squad that had only a pair of seniors and 5 juniors. She wasn't the top scorer, nor did she have the most assists, but she helped BBA to their first points in a 4-4 tie against Hartford, ending a 24-game winless streak. She also played a big role in BBA's first 2 wins in 2 years, victories over U32 and Brattleboro. Congrats, Charlie. Okay. Yep. So as we're doing indoor track, could Nordic skiing come to the front? So in indoor track, we have the boys indoor track athlete of the year, Skylar Hoyt from Mount Anthony. Skylar has been one of the top track athletes for the Patriots over the past few years, and his senior season was a strong one. He was 4th at the Division I meet in both long jump and as part of the 4x200 relay at the States at the University of Vermont. He qualified for the 2nd straight season to participate at the New England regional event, competing in the relay and finishing 16th in the long jump with a jump of 20 feet 3 inches, only 2 inches short of the school record. Come on up, Skylar. No?
He's not here.
Congratulations, Skylar. Girls Indoor Track Athlete of the Year, Rebecca Crozier from Mount Anthony. Rebecca scored in all 4 events she competed in at the state tournament, including 3 individual events and a relay. Rebecca set 2 school records at states in the long jump and triple jump. She was 3rd overall in the long jump with a leap of 16 feet 3.5 inches and 4th in the triple jump at 34 feet 2 inches. She was 3rd in 300 meters in 44.24 seconds, the 3rd best time in Mount Anthony history, and she helped the 4x400 relay team to a 4th place finish. Rebecca qualified for the long jump and 300 meters at the New England Championships as well. Come on up, Rebecca. And as we're doing Nordic skiing, could we have swimming come to the front? So in Nordic skiing, the boys Nordic Skier of the Year, Jack Drew from Mount Anthony. Jack was one of the top skiers for the Patriots this season, consistently finishing in the top 5 throughout. He was 4th at the Marble Valley League freestyle event and won an event at Prospect in December. At the state championships, Jack was 9th in the freestyle and 7th in the classic. Good enough results to snag a first-team All-State honor at the end of the season. After the high school season ended, Jack was one of 6 MAU skiers to help Vermont retain the championship at the Under-16 Eastern States event. Come on up, Jack. The girls Nordic Skier of the Year, Natalie Jelly from Mount Anthony. Natalie was one of a handful of female skiers at Mount Anthony to lead the way on any given day. Natalie was one of the most consistent skiers with top finishes all season long, regardless of the discipline. She finished 11th in the freestyle and 7th in the classic at the state meets, securing her spot as one of the top 10 skiers and a first-team All-State spot. After the season, Natalie represented Bennington and Vermont at the New England Nordic Ski Association Easterns event in Rumford, Maine. Come on up, Natalie. No? She's not here. Congrats. Next, we have the Coach of the Year, Rob Short from Mount Anthony. In his first year as head coach, taking over for multiple state championship winning coach Bruce Smith, Rob led the boys and girls Nordic ski teams to top 5 finishes at the state meet. The boys were 3rd behind only Mount Mansfield and Brattleboro, while the girls were 5th, less than 20 points out of 3rd, behind Mount Mansfield, Brattleboro, Burlington, and CVU. Individually, Rob had a pair of first-team All-State athletes in Jack Drew and Natalie Jelly, and another honorable mention in Sarah Umflett. Come on up, Rob. Right, if we could bring the alpine skiing athletes up to the front. We're going to move on to swimming, where we had the boys swimmer of the year, Zach LaForest from Mount Anthony. Zach helped set a school record in the 400 freestyle relay by nearly 2 seconds back in January en route to the Mount Anthony boys going 10-0 for the first time in school history. At the Berkshire Individuals in February against the top swimmers in Berkshire County, he won the 100-meter freestyle by better than a second and helped the 200-meter relay to a victory. Zach is signed to continue his swim career in college at St. Rose in the Albany area. Come on up, Zach. Girls Swimmer of the Year, Paige Marion from Mount Anthony. Paige was a record-breaking machine this winter, breaking 4 Mount Anthony records. She etched her name in the book in the 50 freestyle, the 100 freestyle, the 200 freestyle, and the 500-meter freestyle. 2 of them, the 50 and the 100, in the same event in December. The 100-meter free record she broke with a time of 57.71 seconds took down a mark that had stood since 2002. Her 200-meter freestyle record, 2 minutes, 7.6 seconds, broke a record that stood for more than a decade. At the Berkshire Individuals, she was second in both the 50 and 100 free. Come on up, Paige. No, Paige isn't here. She's swimming. Okay, as we move on to alpine skiing, let's bring up these snowboard athletes. So in alpine skiing, the boys' alpine skier of the year is Blake Green from Burton. Blake was strong all season for the Bulldogs, finishing the high school year out with a 3rd place finish in the giant slalom and finishing 2 runs in 1:49.62 seconds. He put up a bunch of top 5 finishes as well, with a 5th in the giant slalom at Pico and a runner-up in the slalom as well. Blake was especially good at his home mountain, Bromley, where Green finished 3rd and 2nd, respectively, in a pair of meets in January. Come on up, Blake. Not here. The girls' alpine skier of the year, Mackenzie Peters from Burton. Mackenzie was one of a handful of BBA skiers to have good years on the slopes. She was one of the most consistent competitors in both the giant slalom and slalom disciplines, finishing in the top 10 in nearly every race this season. She was 10th in the giant slalom and 10th in the slalom at Pico Mountain and finished 14th and 11th, respectively, in the giant slalom and slalom at the state meet at Burke Mountain. Come on up, Mackenzie. Could we have the cheer athletes come up as well? Okay, in snowboarding, the snowboarder of the year, Azura Booth Gage from Burton. Azura was a runner-up for the overall state championships in 2017 and 18. She racked up top 5 finishes all over the place, including a 2nd place finish in the giant slalom and a 4th in half pipe as part of the state meet. She won a giant slalom at Sugarbush in January and was 2nd at Killington a week later, while in the half pipe, she took 2nd at Okemo and 4th at Mount Snow. Come on up, Azura. Could we also have the dance athletes come forward? In cheer, we have the cheer athlete of the year, Caden Gauthier from Mount Anthony. Caden was one of 3 senior leaders for the Mount Anthony cheer team in 2017 and 18. After a 2nd place finish at an early season meet at the University of Albany, MAU was 3rd in Division I at the state tournament in Virgins for the 2nd year in a row, qualifying them for the New England Regionals. The Mount Anthony cheer team was 9th overall in Division III at New England's. Caden was also a 3-sport athlete, playing soccer in the fall and softball in the spring. Come on up, Caden. Moving on to dance, the dance athlete of the year, Colleen Ahern from Mount Anthony. Colleen was one of 4 senior captains for a team of 17 that reached the New England Regionals for the 2nd straight season. After a strong showing at the state meet in Virgins, 4th in Palm, 6th in Hip Hop, the Patriots were 10th overall in Division III at the New Englands, making it in the Palm discipline. Colleen is a high honor student in the classroom and is also a manager for the girls lacrosse team. So come on up, Colleen. So that completes our winter sports athletes. So I'd now like to call Adam Samarov to the stage where he's going to be giving out some more special awards. But first, did you know that Bennington Subaru is about to unveil their new facility and state-of-the-art service center? If you haven't seen it next to Home Depot, it looks incredible. So when they open up, check it out. Adam Samarov.
All right. How's everybody doing this evening? Excellent. Excellent. I have also some special awards. Our first special award is the Helping Hands. If you're going to a Mount Anthony athletic event, there's a good chance you'll see our recipient of the Helping Hands Award there in some capacity. He's been a manager for the Patriots football and baseball teams, taking stats and keeping the scorebook. He's out there for the 2 days on hot days in August with the football team doing whatever he can to help out. During the winter, you'll find him as one of the most boisterous members of the Kate's Crazy student section at basketball games. And you'll also always find him reaching out to you to see how you're doing and constantly putting a smile on your face with his infectious personality. This year, he'll be leading the Mount Anthony senior class as its president, and already I've seen he's in politician mode with his red, white, and blue suit. Our Helping Hands winner is Mount Anthony's Sean Devlin.
The ruse is complete.
You had to wear that
I know. Student ambassador, huh?
suit. Okay, so I lied. I lied.
That is an amazing suit. That is amazing. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Our next special award is the Comeback Player of the Year. Our Comeback Player of the Year is someone who is seemingly born to be in the water. She's a Burn student, but she swims for the Mount Anthony swim team. They're the only one in Vermont, which is unfortunate. She took 2 years off from the Mount Anthony team, instead focusing on swimming with the Bennington Marauders and the Manchester Tritons. She decided to come back to the team this past winter, and boy, did she make some waves. She went on to set records in the 50, 100, 200, and 500 freestyle, leaving her name etched in Patriots history. Our Comeback Player of the Year is Paige Marion, but obviously she is not here, as we found out earlier. Our next special award is the Superfan Award. Our Superfan is someone who is more than just a supporter of the team she roots on. Over the better of 2 decades, she's been a nurse, a photographer, and the team mom and grandma. She had her own family to cheer for, but also for anyone who wore the Mount Anthony wrestling singlet. She became involved when her grandson wrestled for Mount Anthony in the early 90s and, quote, caught the wrestling bug, according to former coach Scott Legacy. Over the years, she's helped out with dinner dances and fundraising, much of the behind-the-scenes work. She's also been there with a kind word or a text message to lift spirits. About 5 years ago, she was laid up at the Center for Living and Rehabilitation in Bennington and had to miss her great-grandson's senior night. And for anyone who knows how stubborn she can be, they would know that she would have given anything to be there that night. A few years back, when Mount Anthony was in the middle of its 25th straight state championship season, this person was the catalyst to bring back dozens of alumni for a match against Agawam, Massachusetts. She has attended nearly all of the state and New England tournaments over the past 20 years, and she's the go-to for any stories about the Mount Anthony wrestling program, especially about current coaches who wrestled back then. Next winter, she'll be in the bleachers with her camera, ready to document the next generation of Mount Anthony wrestlers. Our superfan is Rosie Green from Mount Anthony. Come on, Rose. Gonna come over here, I think. See, I knew it at the side. She gave me the side eye, and I knew it was coming.
So do you want to smack him around?
Yeah.
Now, do it.
Oh.
You're bad. You're bad.
I love you, Rose.
Congratulations.
Give her another round of applause, please. Please. I love the surprise, that's great. That's why we do those. I love it. Our next award last year was called the Courage Award, and it was won by John and Judy Werner from Arlington, John being the longtime soccer coach. He passed earlier this year, so we've renamed the Courage Award for John and Judy Werner. So if you give that a round of applause, please. We've changed that this year. Thank you. In football, most players are accustomed to the sound of the whistle at the end of play. Our recipient of the John and Judy Courage Award was never afforded that luxury. He is deaf and cannot speak. He moved to Vermont a few years ago after growing up in Brooklyn, New York, and attended the St. Francis School for the Deaf. He lost his hearing at the age of 2 after a bout with meningitis. In 2009, our Courage Award winner graduated from Bennington University with a degree in environmental science. While going to school, he was trained to compete at the Deaf Olympics and ended up taking gold in the shot put. Coming to Bennington, he ended up getting a job at the Vermont Veterans Home and Home Depot. At Home Depot, he met former Mount Anthony football player Josh Provinis, who also played for the Storm. Provinis said he should join the team, and he jumped at the opportunity. He came in with no football experience, only having played rugby in the past. So there were challenges ahead playing a new sport. The Storm figured out a way to help him overcome his disability with someone involved with the team already. Jen Poirier, quarterback Mike Stevens' girlfriend, was proficient in American Sign Language and was willing to be his translator on the practice field. They quickly had a rapport, with Poirier communicating with him and helping him communicate with Storm coaches and players. I'm very fortunate for her, he said in a story from the Banner last year. I would be unable to understand football plays without decent team communication. My teammates have been very supportive. Playing on the defensive line, Storm team members were impressed with his ability to quickly pick up the game and the scheme. He quickly became an important piece of the Storm's defense and was a key piece to the Storm going 10-1 and winning the New England Football League Maritime Division Championship. Our John and Judy Werner Courage Award go to the Storm's Janelle Lopez. And Janelle couldn't be here, and so I'm accepting the award on his behalf, and he will be able to get that soon. And now I'd like to invite Tim back to the stage. Thank you.
Did you know that Southwestern Vermont Healthcare is about to celebrate their 100th anniversary, providing you amazing service for the past 100 years? That's amazing. I didn't even know they had hospitals over 100 years ago. All right, we're moving on to spring sports. We're going to start with baseball, but if we could also bring softball up as well, that'd be great. So baseball and softball athletes, please come to the front. Baseball and softball athletes, please come to the front for a special announcement. Okay, so we'll start with baseball. The most valuable player of the year, Chandler Polk from Burton. Chandler was one of the Burton baseball team's best hitters throughout the 2018 season. He played third base and hit in the number 4 spot in BBA's lineup all year long. Chandler had many standout performances throughout the season. Against Rutland, Polk went 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs. 2 weeks later against the Raiders, Polk was 4 for 4 with a triple and 4 runs scored. He was named a Marble Valley League honorable mention. Come on up, Chandler. Offensive Player of the Year, Patrick Robertson from Cambridge. Patrick, who a 4-year player for the Indians and Coach Jason White, helped propel Cambridge to its first sectional appearance in a few years, where they lost to Hoosick Falls in the opening round. Patrick batted in the middle of the order, and in his most productive game of the year, he went 5 for 5 and was only a home run away from the cycle. Come on up, Patrick. Defensive and pitcher of the year, Nate Coyne from Mount Anthony. Nate was the #1 pitcher for the Patriots this season as the team went 5-11 and fell in the Division I playdowns to Champlain Valley Union. Nate was the pitcher of record for most of Mount Anthony's victories and had a big win against Rutland back in May, where he had the eventual game-winning hit and RBI. He was named as a Marble Valley League honorable mention at the season's end. Is Nate here? No? Congrats, Nate. Next, we have the Coach of the Year, Ed Lewicki from Burn Burton. Ed led Burn Burton baseball team to a 12-6 record this season and a Division I state quarterfinals appearance. After BBA won the state championships last season, the Bulldogs had lost a few major pieces coming into the 2018 season. With players being thrust into larger roles, Ed quickly developed his team and kept them as one of the perennial contenders in the state. Under his watch, players like Ethan Senecal and Joey McCoy both developed into major contributors for BBA, among others. Come on up, Ed. And if we could have boys lacrosse start coming up. So moving on to softball. The most valuable player, Taylor DeCranian from Mount Anthony. Taylor finished off her 4-year career with the Mount Anthony softball team with another quality campaign. As MAU's main pitcher, she paced a Patriots team that allowed just 18 runs during their 16 regular season games. Taylor was also a major force at the plate for MAU as one of its most consistent hitters. In a crucial playoff game against BFA St. Albans, she hit a home run to start the scoring for the Patriots as they pushed for a 3rd title in 4 seasons. She was named a Marble Valley League All-Star for a 2nd consecutive season at this season's end. Taylor will pitch in college, attending Russell Sage College in the fall. Come on up, Taylor. Offensive Player of the Year, Jamie Boyle, Mount Anthony. Jamie has been one of the most productive hitters in the Banners coverage area this year. Hitting in the cleanup spot for most of the season with Mount Anthony, she consistently had multi-hit games and was great with runners on bases, driving in runs at a high rate. She had her best offensive performance during MAU's first-round playoff game against Burlington. In that game, she went 5 for 5 with 2 home runs, a double, and 11 RBIs. She was named as a Marble Valley League All-Star for the 2nd consecutive season. And Jamie, who is one of the top defensive players in the state as well, playing behind the plate, she's also going to play in college, staying in the state to attend Castleton University. Come on up, Jamie. Defensive and Pitcher of the Year, Abby Philpott from Hoosick Falls. Abby was an ever-consistent force on the mound with an upset-minded Hoosick Falls team that made it to the Class C sectional semifinals this past year. She had her best outing of the season against Waterford on May 4th when she pitched a 1-hitter in a 15-0 Panthers win. She also pitched the Panthers to a 2nd-place finish in the inaugural Charlie Whedon tournament. Abby was named a Wasserman League All-Star at the end of this season. Come on up, Abby. We have Co-Coach of the Year. First is Katie Contrata from Mount Anthony. Katie led the Patriots on the verge of winning their 5th consecutive Division I state championship game after they went 15-1 in the regular season. In the past 4 years, she has led her charges to a 71-6 record and success never seen in the history of Mount Anthony softball. Katie was our choice last year as the Coach of the Year at the Regional All-Stars. Come on up, Katie. And our next Co-Coach of the Year is Eamon DeGraff from Hoosick Falls. After taking over for the late Charlie Whedon, Eamon led the Hoosick Falls softball team to a Class C sectional semifinal appearance where they fell in a close game against Greenville. In the sectional tournament, the Panthers pulled off an upset of heavily favored number 2 Lake George. Under his coaching, Hoosick Falls had multiple players, including Olivia Brownell, Marissa Landry, Abby Philpott, and Mackenzie Ellis, named as Wasserman League All-Stars. Come on up, Eamon. If we could have the girls lacrosse athletes come to the front. In boys lacrosse, the most valuable player, Jeff Potter from Mount Anthony. Jeff led the Patriots in goals for the second straight season in a tough year where the Patriots went 4-12. Jeff, as a junior, had been a leader in the midfield and attack for the Patriots, who had a young team in 2018. He also showed off his prowess on the defensive end, guarding up the opponent's best player. Jeff was named a Marble Valley League All-Star this season. Come on up, Jeff. The Offensive Player of the Year, Zach Rowland from Cambridge. Zach was one of the top offensive players on a Cambridge boys lacrosse team that went 10-5 this season. Zach, along with teammates Max Hoffer and Gabe, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, were consistently threats to have multi-goal games. He had 4 or more goals in almost half of the Indians' games in 2018. On top of his scoring prowess, Zach was one of the team's leading facilitators, racking up numerous multi-assist games. He was also named a Wasserman League First Team All-Star this season. Come on up, Zach. Defensive Player of the Year, Daniel Blanchfield from Cambridge. Daniel was one of the top goalies in the area and a major part of the Cambridge boys lacrosse team that went 10-5 this year. In 2/3 of the Indians' games, he held opponents under 10 goals and had 2 shutouts on the season. Daniel could not be here tonight because he's representing Cambridge at the boys' state meet. Congratulations, Daniel. The Coach of the Year. Coach of the Year is Tom Graber from Burton. In his first year at the helm of the Burton boys lacrosse team, Tom led BBA to a 10-8 mark in a Division I state quarterfinals appearance. After losing multiple key pieces to last season's squad, he did a great job of getting the most out of his 2018 team that had just 1 senior on the roster. The Bulldogs had their best stretch over a 6-game period mid-season where they won 5 of 6 games and allowed 10 goals in a game only once. In more than half of BBA's games, the Bulldog had double-digit scoring outputs. Come on up, Tom. If we could have the track and field athletes start coming to the front. In girls lacrosse, the most valuable player, Avery Galley from Mount Anthony. Avery was the leader of the Mount Anthony girls lacrosse team. They went 12-5 and made it to the state quarterfinals this season. After losing 2 of the best scorers in the state, she took on the role as the go-to player for MAU and slipped into that role seamlessly. She was consistently the Patriots' top offensive threat and commanded the most attention from opposing defenses. Avery reached 100 career goals this season, and one of her best games came against Woodstock, where she scored 7 of MAU's 15 goals. She was named a Marble Valley League All-Star at the end of this season. Come on up, Avery. Offensive Player of the Year, Shayla Heekin from Burton. Shayla finished off with what was one of the greatest career Burton girls lacrosse seasons in history in 2018. She was BBA's top offensive threat throughout the season. She scored 7 goals against Brattleboro and Woodstock and led the team in goals in a good portion of their games. Shayla became the first girl in program history to tally more than 100 points in a single season. She had a goal-to-assist ratio of 2-to-1 and finished her career as the program's all-time points leader and assist leader. Shayla was named a Marble Valley League All-Star at this season's end. Come on up, Shayla. Defensive Player of the Year, Maya Schneeberger from Mount Anthony. Maya stepped into the role of starting goalie and had a strong season for the Mount Anthony girls lacrosse team. Just a sophomore, she held opponents under 10 goals in more than half of MAU games this season. Maya had her best game during a close game against BBA where she had 16 saves. Maya was named as a Marble Valley League All-Star this season. Come on up, Maya. Coach of the Year goes to Liz Leyva from Hoosick Falls. In her first year at the helm of the Hoosick Falls girls lacrosse team, Liz led the Panthers to a Class D sectional championship game appearance, where they fell to number 1 seed Schuylerville. To make it to the sectional title game, Hoosick Falls pulled off a pair of upsets, one over Cohoes and another over Catholic Central. Under her watch, junior Lillian Hickey was one of the top offensive threats in the Banners coverage area. Come on up, Leva. Liz, sorry. Moving on to track and field. We're giving an award for the 4x800 relay team of Sean Tobin, Evan Page, Cooper Mason, and Matthew Longton from Mount Anthony. The team of Evan, Sean, Cooper, and Matthew set a blistering mark in one of the toughest races of a track meet, the 4x800 relay. At the New England qualifier at Essex back in May, the foursome ran the event in 8 minutes, 30.84 seconds, bettering their record by more than 18 seconds as they qualified for the regional meet. The time was the 3rd best in Vermont, regardless of division. At New England's, against all 6 states, they finished 26th in their first attempt in the event as a team. Come on up, guys. Next, we have the Boys Track Athlete of the Year, Ian Mayer from Burton. Ian was one of Burton's top performers both on the track and also in the field events. At the New England qualifying meet, Ian's 16.24 second finish in the 110-meter hurdles was enough to qualify him for the regional meet. He set numerous personal records throughout the 28 season. On the track, he set PRs in 100, 200, 400 meters, 110-meter hurdles, and also the 300-meter hurdles. In the field events, he set PRs in both javelin and long jump. Come on up, Ian. If we could have the tennis athletes also come to the front. Next, we have Boys Field Athlete of the Year, Will Frank from Burton. Will was one of the top field athletes for a Burton team that finished 3rd as a team at the Division II state meet. He qualified for the New England regional meet in the discus. Throughout the season, Will set multiple personal records. His discus throw of 137 feet 4 inches at the D2 state meet was a personal best. He also set PRs in the 100-meter dash, shot put, and javelin. Come on up, Will. The Girls Player of the Year is split into 2 awards. So the first Co-Girls Player of the Year goes to Miranda Secord from Cambridge. Miranda was a champion in the 100 meters at the Group 4 sectionals and then helped the 4x100 meter relay team to a 5th place in the same event. She was also third in the long jump at sectionals, becoming one of the top scorers for the Indians in that meet. At the state qualifier, Miranda was fifth in the Division II 100 with a time of 13 seconds flat. She was also a softball player during the spring, splitting her time between the diamond and the track. In softball, she was a Wasserman League All-Star. Come on up, Miranda. Next, Co-Girls Player of the Year, Gabrielle Blanchard from Burn-Burton. Gabrielle was one of the top performers on the Burn-Burton girls track and field team. She qualified for the New England regional meet with her effort in the high jump at the New England qualifying meet. She set multiple PRs both on the track and in the field events, setting PRs, best times in the 100-meter, the 200-meter, and also set PRs in the high jump and the long jump. Come on up, Gabrielle. Moving on to tennis. Boys Player of the Year, Michael Niemi from Mount Anthony. Michael was the #1 singles player for new coach Trevor Grimshaw at the Mount Anthony boys tennis team this spring. He had a strong season going up against some of the top players in the state, and he held his own, but only as a sophomore. In 2 seasons, Michael has come from a lower position on the card to the #1 player as MAU went 6 and 7. He was named a Marble Valley League All-Star at the season's end. Is Michael here? No? Way to go, Michael. And the Girls Player of the Year is Anna Salem from Mount Anthony. Anna was one of the top players for the Mount Anthony girls tennis team. She went a perfect 9-0 in her individual matches this season. She was #1 in singles and a captain on the MAU team that made it to the Division I state quarterfinals. Patriot coach Steve Coggeshell viewed Anna as an assistant coach on the court. Anna was named a Marble Valley League All-Star this season. And I don't think she's here as well. So congratulations, Anna. Okay, so that concludes our regular awards for the night. In a few minutes, we're going to be doing some special surprise awards. But before we do that, let's give a big round of applause to our keynote speaker, Nate Holland.
Thank you. Well done. Well done. Wow, congratulations. That was seeing the light in the athletes' faces as they're getting awarded and recognized is truly something special. As you guys saw in my video earlier, they said that I had started my X Games career in 2002. That puts me at 39 years old right now, which is exactly 301 years old snowboard age. You always got to start with a little joke. To go over some of my background, I was active in sports as a child. I played football, soccer, volleyball. I was always a starter, but never the star. I hadn't found exactly my niche quite yet. I would get an assist. I was never the guy that scored the final goal. I'd always skied since I was 3 years old and skateboarded as well. So when snowboarding hit Schweitzer Mountain in Sandpoint, Idaho, and I saw it, I begged and pleaded my parents to allow me to try it. After a little bit of twisting the arm, they let me. I was 10 years old, so they'd got me to ski the entire resort and didn't think it was a good idea for me to regress. Fast forward 2 years after snowboarding, I won my very first snowboard contest. I was the star. I was an individual star. No one else could mess it up for me. I was hooked at that point. Fast forward that, after competing through high school, I decided I was going to become a professional snowboarder. I wanted to be the biggest and the baddest half-pipe guy, film star that there was. I competed directly against guys like Ross Powers, who you guys all know, 2002 Olympic champion from Manchester. Give it up for Ross. Ross would whoop on me all the time. I'd come up with a new trick. We'd show up at a meet and at a contest, and he would beat me straight up. I would go and learn another new trick. Ross and the other guys would beat me. That lasted until my early 20s, where I had then ran up a credit card debt that was impressive enough for my mom, who was the co-signer, called me and asked me, "What in the heck are you doing down in Tahoe? This has got to stop. It's not making sense." Whoop. We okay? Let's just make sure everyone's okay first. All right. I was in debt, and my mom was telling me I need to move home. We need to figure something out that's going to work, because this was not working. I told my mom, "Look, Mom, I think I'm onto something here. I really do. I think I've invested all this time and money traveling around to my snowboarding, and something was going to click soon enough." She said I had till the end of the winter till I had to come home. Later on that year, 2004, I was able to win my first national title. And boom, $10,000 got my mom off my back just like that. I am now an 8 times X Games gold medalist, 3-time Olympian, 2-time World Championship medalist, 17 World Cup podiums, 7 of which are World Cup wins. All of this is because I was able to make an adjustment, to believe in myself and to make an adjustment. Notice how I didn't say there was any Olympic medals in there? I went there 3 times and came back goose-egged every single time. It's one thing in sports that we all learn: how to win with honor and dignity, and how to lose with honor and dignity. I call it the X's and O's. Apparently, I'm better at kissing than I am hugging with my X Games medals and not my Olympic medals. The Olympics and X Games are 2 of the biggest contests within snowboarding. They happen, X Games is every year, the Olympics are every 4 years. Every 4 years, they're only 2 weeks apart. Every single one of my Olympics, I won X Games 2 weeks prior. So I had the confidence, I was on fire, I felt great, and I honestly can't tell you exactly why I don't have any Olympic medals at this point. Most notably was Vancouver of 2010, where I made it through to the finals, to the final 4 guys. We start getting in the start gate. I had my teammate, Seth Westcott, who we were racing all day long with. I was racing all day long with. I had Mike Robertson from Canada and a Frenchman. My coach runs up and whispers into Westcott in my ears that the Canadian, Mike Robertson, has been having amazing starts all day. There's no way we can catch him. There's absolutely no way. But we're both faster on the bottom half of the course. And every single race that I've ever witnessed or been in my life, you don't win it in the start. You win it at the finish line. So with that, we all load up in the gates, pull out, do the start section, going into turn 1, and I'm neck and neck with Robertson, the Canadian. I think to myself, I'm not waiting for farther down the course to pass this guy. Like, I'm going to give him the heat right now, try and run away with this. We go into turn 1. He had the edge on me. He did. My coach was right. He had the inside line. Around the corner we go. Robertson first, Holland in second. Turn 2, I had inside line. Holland first, Robertson second. Turn 3, Robertson, Holland. Turn 4, after turn 4, the course became straight, long, big jumps. That's what I excel at. That's my strength. I already had the thing in the bag. Going into turn 4, I had inside line. I was going to exit with the inside line and take off. I got a little ahead of myself, and I went down. I spun out. 3 guys go flying by. I get to the bottom, and lo and behold, my teammate, Seth Westcott, won his very second Olympic gold medal. I went over to congratulate him. In snowboard cross, things go a million miles an hour in a million different directions. So to process everything, it usually takes the athlete a little while. I go over and congratulate Westcott, give him a big hug. While I was doing that, the volunteers were clearing the arena, the finish corral. We got to make room for the podium ceremony. Not 20 seconds after I just crossed the finish line, my heart rate is like at 180 plus, beating out of itself. I hadn't processed that I had just lost the Olympics, and I was getting pried out by the volunteers to make room. It really didn't hit me till I walked through that gate, and that's when the pain really started. That's when the loss. There's stuff that you can do for those losses, but they're always going to stay with you. It just makes you work harder, in my opinion, and we'll get onto that a little further. Goals. It's as cliche as it is, goals are so important. I looked up the definition of goals. It's the object of a person's ambition or effort, to aim or an aim or desired result. Goals. Everyone needs something to move forward towards, to get you fired up and stay fired up. Something to wake you up in the morning, something to attack. Goals help you decide what you want to be. Don't let life push you around. Be realistic, yet flexible with your goals. I had the goal of being a professional snowboarder. That dream was going to come to an end unless I made the adjustment to go into snowboard cross racing. Success. The accomplishment of an aim or purpose. I believe if you enjoy the process, embrace the process, success will come naturally. If you focus on, I'm going to win the Super Bowl, there's a lot of steps that it takes before you win the actual Super Bowl. If you listen to your coaches, if you embrace your training regimen, if you're open-minded and really start to find fun and enjoy that process, the success will follow. Don't focus on the end product, focus on what you can control, and that is the process. Routine. I find a lot of comfort with routine. My general warm-up in the start gate to get ready for a race, I go through a direct routine. Take this out. When I find my routine, I seem to let it flow. I'm able to I'll just go through a quick routine. I'm lined up, there's a French guy here, there's a German guy there, a Canadian, maybe an American over there, and a Norwegian over there. I roll into the start gate. My coach let me know that I use a lot of humor to curb nerves, and we'll get to that later. So I'm the guy joking around and winking at people, taking a sip of water, moving a lot, keeping the legs loose. This is a routine that I found that I'm comfortable with. I step into the start gate, they give us a 10-second warning. Within that 10-second warnings, the amount of difference of emotion I go through is staggering. It's like a heartbeat. I get in there and I fire myself up from the gut. I get a little mad, get fired up. That elevates my senses. At that point, I then take a couple deep breaths and calm myself way down. So on call, I can go from as high as I desire, I can, to as calm as possible. When that start gate starts to flinch, moves just a hair, I'm gone. Those routines help me immensely. And I think they'll help you once they make everything familiar. Common denominators of achieving greatness. I've got 3 offhand. Hard work, discipline, and sacrifice. All 3 of those are choices that you can make when you wake up in the morning. It's not something you're born with. You wake up, you can say, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to have discipline, and I'm going to sacrifice. I'm going to sacrifice going and hanging out with my friends. Maybe I'll get a couple more reps at the gym. With those, I believe you can achieve greatness in anything outside of sports, in life in general. Adversity. Difficulties or misfortune. Losses shape us. They truly do. They make us grow. They make us hungry. That loss at the Olympics has shaped me in so many different ways. It's something that I hold on to and have learned from. The most memorable snowboarding experience I have is that 4th place at the Olympics. It's not my run at X Games, although that was great. 5 of them in a row, 8 total. It's that loss that really burns down and I have vivid memories of. I don't consider that negative. I consider those learning experiences. Nerves. Why are you nervous? I asked myself the same question years ago. And the only answer I came up with is because this is important to me. This moment, these butterflies, because I care about this. If I didn't have the nerves, I would nonchalantly roll into the start gate, la-di-da myself down the course, and end up dead last. The nerves, I've learned, are an energy. You can either let them affect you in a couple different ways. You can get in the start gate. That's me. I understand it's a baseball diamond and starting lines and other stuff, and you can apply this to all different sports. I don't want the nerves to affect me in a negative way. I mean, can you imagine me sitting there with NBC cameras on me and I have to puke on the white snow? I hope everyone's done with their dinner. No, I believe that nerves are an energy that you can harness and use in positive manners. Your heightened senses, you have electric running through your fingertips, and if I can use my nerves to get out of the start gate 1/100th of a second faster than I can in training, just because I'm nervous, just because it's important to me, is amazing. One of the hardest, most rewarding aspects of sport is the adversity. In 2014, we had 5 Olympic qualifiers. The first one, I snapped my clavicle in December. The very next week, I wasn't able to make that race. I went back and got surgery, got it plated. The third week, 14 days later, was a race up in Lake Louise, Canada. I told myself I need to go up there. The doctors okayed me. I was going to get on snow, ride around in a sling, inspect the course, see how it felt, and go for it. I needed to get to accumulating points and to try and attempt to make the Olympics. I was able to do something there that I'm so proud of myself. Without a wing or a start, really, I was able to get 7th place. I didn't make the Olympic team that day, but what I told myself was mentally I was able to make the Olympics. I didn't need a wing. I am competing against 70 of the world's best guys, and I got 7th. It was going to come. Trust in the process. But mentally, I was there. I was using my wisdom at that point. And everybody has that inside them. If you can gear your mind, it's one of the most powerful tools that we have. Muscle tool. Speaking of mindset, how do you track where your mindset is in a day? How do you know what mindset you want to be within competition? A couple things that have worked for me in the past is I've gone through an entire month and wrote down, what mindset am I in the morning? A couple times a day. What mindset am I in the afternoon? And how am I doing in training? How am I doing in practice? How am I doing in the games with those different mindsets? That's just gathering data. It's gathering data so you can look back and see, do I need to be calm and I perform my best? Do I need to get a little angry? Do I need to get a little crazy? Or are you a calm, collect person? It's like looking at my calves. After every summer, I look at them, I'm like, I could beef these things up. The season's coming, so I go and I hit the gym. That's easy. That's a visual. You can do the same exact thing with your mindset if you take the time to gather the data. Establish an environment of high-intensity training as much as possible, so you know yourself, so you know how to react in high-intensity situations. The more high-intensity training and situations you can put yourself in, the better you're going to be when those situations occur. Sometimes it takes, you go through a practice and you ask a buddy, hey, you want to stay after and get some reps? And put yourself in those situations so when they do occur, when you're in a game fighting for state or making a college free throw, or trying out for the Olympics. Those situations are gnarly, and if you care about them, they're gonna be gnarly. So put yourself in those situations as much as possible. Be compassionate to yourself. Being hard on yourself isn't the same as having high standards. Sure, we're gonna fail. We're gonna fail miserably sometimes, but don't let that deter your goals. Help set the goals high. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Don't beat up on yourself. I understand it happens. Sometimes you'll be biting your lip, kicking the dirt, but don't hold on to that. You're not gonna mope your way to the top. What you can do is learn from those situations and make yourself a better competitor. In closing, I wish you all success. Set goals, attack your dreams, be flexible, overcome adversity, and light this world on fire. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. So hopefully you got a lot of things out of Nate's talk, but he was a kid with a dream, and he went for it, and he sacrificed, and he worked his butt off, and you can do that too. So this doesn't have to be the end if you're a senior. You can go where you want to go. You can set goals and have big dreams. Okay, I'm going to do another Did You Know? Any Game of Thrones fans here in the audience? Anybody watch? Have you ever heard of this show called Game of Thrones? Did you know that Peter Dinklage on the show Game of Thrones is a 1991 graduate of Bennington College? He probably stood in this room at one point. Alan Arkin, the actor Alan Arkin? He taught acting here. Brett Ratner, the huge Hollywood director, he went here. Tons of people went here. Lots of stuff has happened in this room, and now it's happening for you as well. All right, so before we go into our special surprise awards, I want to invite up the president and publisher, Fred Rutberg. Come on up, Fred. He's going to give us a special presentation.
Wow. I am so proud and pleased to be up here. I'm going to take only a second because I know how patient everybody's been. Still have some great things to happen tonight, but I have to say a really special thank you to Tim for being a great MC, and to Nate for that wonderful speech. If I'd heard that 50 years ago, I might have won an award. Thank you. There's still time. Okay. Now, I am here because when I say we, I'm talking about the Sandy Casey Scholarship Committee, of which I am a member, maybe the chair, I guess, by default. We are going to award the first Sandy Casey Scholarship right now. Now, for those of you that don't know, Sandy Casey was born in East Dorset around the corner, and she was an outstanding student and a great basketball player at Burton Academy in Manchester. And after receiving degrees from the College of St. Joseph and Assumption College, she pursued a career in special education until she was tragically and senselessly killed in a mass murder last October 1st in Las Vegas. Shortly after her death, the Bennington Banner and the Manchester Journal, of which I am proud and pleased to be the publisher, together with a little help from our friends at Southwest Vermont Healthcare and Burton Academy, established the Sandy Casey Scholarship in order to honor her memory, or as a member of the scholarship committee said offhand the other day, to respond to bad with good. And if you can take a lesson away from this tonight, that's another great one, to respond to bad with good. The scholarship is designed to help a local student who reflects Sandy Casey's positive attitude, her commitment to teamwork, interest in early childhood development. And the award committee consisted of Attorney Tom Jacobs of Bennington, Leslie Keefe, who's an employee of Southwestern Vermont Medical Care, Dave LaChance, our editor of the Bennington Banner, and myself, but most important, Stephen Casey, who I unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, Sandy's dad. And it's with great pride that I announce the first Sandy Casey Scholar is Ashley Finkelstein of Pownell. Now, it's a check for $2,500, which Ashley will use to further her liberal arts studies at the Community College of Vermont. I say further her studies because she's been a participant in CCV's early college program while she was a student at Mount Anthony. And so she begins in September. This is staggering, with 27 college credits already earned. Her academic achievements, her participation as a cheerleader at Mount Anthony, and her professed desire to make an impact on children as her special third grade teacher made upon her, all reflect the qualities that make friends and family of Sandy Casey recall Sandy. Sadly, also, Ashley has had to confront a tragic death. Her brother passed this spring, so that's an unfortunate connection as well. But it's with great honor that I asked her to come up here and get the award. Ashley Finkelstein of Pownell, Vermont.
Congratulations, and thank you, Fred. Okay, I'm going to invite Adam Samroff back up to the stage, and we're going to do our surprise special awards. Without further ado, Adam Samroff.
All right. Welcome back. We have 5 more awards, and these are our yearly awards specifically. Our Boys Coach of the Year. Our coach took on the job of coaching the Arlington boys basketball team late in the offseason when they couldn't find a different coach for the team. In January, our person, Ashley Hoyt, who was also the Arlington athletic director, faced more adversity after the Arlington gym was damaged by a broken water pipe, forcing her team to play the rest of their games away from Arlington. In fact, I actually covered a part of a game that they played at Mount Anthony Union Middle School, which was interesting. So everybody, big thing was all the different schools around the area helped them out, which was really cool. In the middle of all that, the Eagles were the number 4 seed in Division IV and reached the Berry Auditorium in the state semifinal. And Ashley will take over as Mount Anthony athletic director this fall with Tim Brown retiring from the position after 30 years. Our boys coach of the year is Ashley Hoyt from Arlington. Give Ashley another round of applause, please. Our girls team overall coach of the year is also from Arlington and coaches a bunch of Eagles. In his first season at the helm, as we heard earlier, of the Arlington girls soccer team after taking over for his dad, Aaron Wood from Arlington led the Eagles to a perfect 18-0 record and a Division IV state championship, the first in 8 years. Under his leadership, Arlington outscored opponents 104-6 for the season. And also, a funny anecdote I got this season, when I talked to his father, he knew that he had a huge amount of talent with the Eagles, and he gave it up anyway for his son to take over. So obviously, a big deal there. Our girls coach of the year is Aaron Wood from Arlington. Give him a round of applause again also, please. And don't go anywhere. Wait, Aaron, wait. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Our next award is the Team of the Year, which this man coaches, the Arlington girls soccer team. Our Team of the Year, thank you. Our Team of the Year was a statistical marvel this past season. They outscored opponents by 98 goals. They won a perfect 18-0 for their first unbeaten season since 2002 and the first perfect season since 1992. They went on to win their first state title since 2009. They had 2 players, Tess Belknap and Haley Madison, who had more than 30 goals and littered the all-state selections for Division IV. So if a couple of the Arlington players could come up and get your award in a picture as well. Our Team of the Year is the Arlington girls soccer team. Congratulations, Danny.
Thank you.
Shayna, congratulations. Pass up the list. And they're going to do it again, too, I have a feeling. They're going to be just as good next year. Another round of applause, please. And that brings us to our final 2 awards of the night, my favorite awards, our Male Athlete of the Year and Female Athlete of the Year. We're going to do the Female Athlete of the Year first. Our Female Athlete of the Year played 5 sports at Cambridge Central School this year. During the fall, she was a defensive midfielder for the soccer team, while also serving as the kicker on a 2-time defending state championship football team. And her name is in the New York State record books with the most points by a female player in football. She didn't stop doing 2 sports once the winter came around, playing girls basketball and competing in indoor track. On the hardwood, she was an anchor on the block for an Indians team that went 25-2 and made it to the state semifinals in Troy, New York, only getting better as their playoff run went on. She averaged 9 points per game on the season, and along with her younger sister, Fiona, made up one of the best post-player combos in the state. She finished out her high school athletic career with a strong season on the track this spring. One of the smartest and nicest people you'll ever meet, this person was also the valedictorian of the Cambridge 2018 senior class. Our female athlete of the year, and a very deserved person for it, is Helen Mooney from Cambridge. You're going to grab them? You can grab them, yeah. Congratulations. Yeah, same for both of you guys. Okay. A round of applause for our female athlete, Helen Mooney. And our last award, our male athlete of the year. Our male athlete of the year was a two-sport athlete at Hoosick Falls who exemplified what it means to be a leader. As a guard on the Panthers basketball team, he averaged more than 15 points per game and facilitated an offense that was one of the best in the area. As great as he was on the offensive end, his defensive work stood out at an even higher level. Game in and game out, Hoosick Falls coach Mike Lilac had this player covering the best offensive player of the opponent. He was the Western League MVP this season and our choice for the boys basketball MVP for this event. On the lacrosse field, he was a leader and consistent threat to score for the Panthers at any point. Hoosick Falls coach Mark Marquardt marveled at the man that this athlete had become during his time knowing him. For all his accolades in athletics, he was just as impressive in the classroom, finishing 5th overall out of 86 in the Hoosick Falls senior class. Our male athlete of the year is Guy Milliman from Hoosick Falls. Congratulations. All right, and so he gets this picture taken here. Give him another round of applause as well. And as a special gift for our Athletes of the Year, we have Leatherman jackets. They should be the right size. Hoping, cross my fingers. They got names on them and everything. Ooh. There you go. There you go. Stand up. It's a little big, but not bad. We'll take it.
A little bit more sponsor love.
Love a sponsor love. All right. And for our closing remarks, let me bring back Tim Van Orden. Thank you.
Another round of applause for everybody. So Susan wanted me to tell everybody if there's any coaches here that wants to pick up their awards for their athletes, come get them. We also have some boxes. If you didn't have your trophy with the box, we have some left over. Once again, I wanted to thank everybody for coming out. Please do me a favor and really give yourselves a round of applause. This is an amazing event. This is our second year, and for it to be the third year, we want to definitely thank our sponsors. We can't do this without our sponsors. We can't do this without you. I want to thank Nate Holland, our top guy over there. Appreciate it, Nate. Thank you so much for coming out. Big shout out to the sports editor, the sports team at Bennington Band of Manchester. Joni, y'all did an amazing job. And Tim, amazing job, man. We really appreciate what you did today. Thank you so much. Get home safe. See you next year.